Here's what I'm discovering, that as we begin to shift our mindset, we begin to explore what's possible. Our God designed mind, coupled with His grace, will begin to lead us to solutions. Hi, folks. This is Colin Richards, president and founder of Lord & Richards, and I'm excited to be talking to you today about the 4 pillars of a happy and successful life. In a previous episode, we talked about the first 2, faith and family, and those are vital. I think most people would say, if my faith, if my relationship with God is right, and if my family relationships are right, I'm happy, I'm successful by almost anybody's book. But the next 2 pillars that I'm going to talk about, your fitness and your finance, in these next 2 episodes, really are the means through which you can expand your enjoyment of your family, of your faith, of the things that you most love to do in life. So without getting too far into the weeds today, I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about the 3rd pillar, the pillar of fitness. And I'm going to talk about how to lead a happy, successful life that is enhanced by the quality of your health. A life that is enhanced by the quality of your health. And in this particular episode, my emphasis is going to be on one particular aspect, and that is the area of longevity. As I sit down with folks like you every single day to talk about achieving financial independence and having a great financial plan, we touch on every area of your life, and health actually ends up being one of the core areas of discussion. And I'm always asking folks I'm meeting with, hey, are there any issues that you're going through? Is there anything that, might potentially shorten your life? And I'm interested in medications people might be taking, procedures and surgeries, or diseases that they may be combating, particularly in later life when we're hitting our 60s and 70s and so on. Well, life expectancy often comes up as a kind of subtopic related to, my parents lived longer or my parents didn't live shorter. But we need to start with this mindset that life expectancy can be radically altered by your mindset. Life expectancy can be radically altered by your mindset. You say, I don't understand. I thought that life expectancy is pretty much built into our genes. Well, it doesn't take much study to look back on the history of life expectancy to see that there are so many other factors besides your genetic makeup. That there are things that are going on in the world, in how we eat, in our access to technology, education, and yes, wealth, that can determine our life expectancy. Now, many people that come to us are looking for financial solutions to health problems like chronic illness or early death to make sure that their family is taken care of or that you are taken care of. But one of the things I want to start helping you and all of my clients with is this idea of our mindset towards life expectancy. One of the reasons I think sometimes people don't spend much time talking about this is because the idea of a longer life has been tainted by the fact that as people live longer, they tend to have more chronic illness. As a matter of fact, what I discover is that although we would all fear cancer or all fear heart disease or any of the other things that rob us of the length of life that we would enjoy, dementia-related illnesses such as Alzheimer's disease are often the most feared by Americans, and I'm sure many other societies, because the fear is of being trapped inside our own bodies without our full cognition. The fear is being limited in our activities. Many people express that I'd rather just have a heart attack and die than go through something long and drawn out. But here's the thing, advances in information and technology are making it possible for you, for me, for all of us to potentially achieve longer, healthier lifespans. And here's what I'm discovering, that as we begin to shift our mindset, we begin to explore what's possible. Our God-designed mind, coupled with His grace, will begin to lead us to solutions. My wife and I had this not too long ago with one of our children that was facing a really debilitating condition. And medical science wasn't offering any hope. It was really amazing. It's just a very, very rare, debilitating condition that could potentially take our child's life. And I say the access to information as well as God's grace coupled together saved the life of my child, because it was my wife who literally was given, I believe by God, exactly what to type into a Google internet search browser and located a professor of medicine that was studying this exact same thing and had come to amazing conclusions and treatments. And as a result, within a few short months, my child's condition completely reversed, and she lives today a happy, normal life. What else can happen? Well, as you begin to think more and more about the prospect of, hey, is it possible for me to apply some brain power here to extending my life, to have a long life, but not one of those debilitating long lives, right? Nobody wants to live longer just to live longer and be bedridden or trapped in our own bodies and in our own minds. But talking about having a longer life so that you can enjoy more time doing the things that you love with the people that you love. We call that financial independence when you don't have to work to achieve it. But I'm also thinking about fitness independence, about having the physical freedom to go with your family on trips, enjoy the grandkids or your children or just one another, and not be limited by chronic disease and other things that could rob you of a longer life. Many people, even from a biblical perspective, have gotten into a mindset that, well, our life is going to be limited, and I don't want to even think about 80s, 90s, much less 100, because I don't want to be trapped. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. I don't want to be a burden. And many people take the words of Moses, the great prophet of the Old Testament, in Psalm 90, verse 10, to say, look, we're really limited. God has set a boundary, and it's very limiting. As a matter of fact, it says 70, which is 70 years, or 80 or 80 years if by reason of strength. And many people take that as, wow, if I've made it to 70, I'm already hitting the goal. If I get to 80, wow, I'm in the top group. But what I'm discovering is that more and more people are living into their 90s. And what we want to do is think ahead and say, is there really a maximum? I know great minds like Dan Sullivan have put truly what some might call ridiculous maximum lifespans out there, as he teaches in his strategic coach entrepreneur coaching program, that he has chosen 156 as his ideal lifespan. He actually arbitrarily picked that number because he wanted to live one whole century, and he was born in 1944. So he had to live 56 years of the previous century and then 100 years of the new one. So that's a little bit arbitrary. But what I'm looking at is, does the Bible actually put a limit of 70 or 80 years? If you study that, you'll discover many scholars believe that had to do with the maximum lifespans of those who lived and then died prior to entering the promised land. You look at it. And so Moses himself, who wrote those words, lived to 120 years. And previously in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, God says man's days will be 120 years. And you see these events occurring that move people towards 120 years. I don't know. I don't know what the maximum lifespan is for men. I know it's probably not more than 120 based on what God has said. But here's what I do know. When you start to begin thinking about, well, what really could be my maximum lifespan? A healthy lifespan. And what's going to happen is, just like my wife, with the solution she found for our daughter, your mind is going to begin bringing up information that you might have passed by before, but now you search for or see out in your environment that is going to lead you to the solution to that problem. And I've discovered it in my own life as I have considered longevity and how to have a healthier, longer lifespan. It is amazing how suddenly information is coming at me unexpectedly. And what I'm realizing is my mind is leading me to those places where I'm going to find a solution. And so at Lord & Richards, one of the great pillars of a happy, successful life is enjoying your health, fitness, so that you can spend more time doing what you love with those that you love, as well as enjoying just the joy of having a healthy, active lifestyle, even in older age. Well, Among other things, our clients not only are talking to us about health and fitness, but they're talking about financial independence. And I would love to have my team and I meet with you and talk about how you can become financially independent. It just starts with a simple phone call.